Welcome and welcome back, fiber friends, to yet another episode of the Wool to Gold podcast. Today we're doing a WIP check. Clearly, I have some objects that I have started working on recently. I have some finished stuff that is drying in the background that I recently hung and mounted on my wall in the background. I have some new yarn. I have lots of stuff to show you guys. Oh my gosh, and I also have stuff on my wheel. So we have a lot to talk about. I want to try to keep this video on the shorter side, even though I do have a lot of WIPs to show you guys. And I kind of want to talk a little bit about the process of putting the backing on this giant tapestry. Obviously, like, it's not perfect, but I think for my first time, like, I've never put a backing on a tapestry before. I've never really done like tapestry work like this before, especially not of this size. So I really couldn't find much advice online, so I just took a like thrifted felt blanket, the ones that you sometimes bring when you like go camping and stuff like that. And I got some glue and I glued it. Yeah, and then I mounted it on one of those like dowel poles. I can show you guys a close up of it later. Or maybe we'll do that now. Maybe we'll start with some of the stuff that is finished, like finished. And I can talk a little bit more about my finishing process, and then I can show you guys the stuff that I casted on and the new yarn that I spun as well. Okay, so if you've been following along for a while, you've already seen this piece. I am just washing it, and I am blocking it because it is 100% wool. So like, I just think it'll be flatter and more even if I block it out. I think the words look a lot clearer, and I think it'll just like hang nicer on the dowel once I attach it. I don't have more of like this background yarn, and I don't really want to use the textured yarn to attach the top. I don't really know what color I'm going to end up using, but we'll have to play that by ear. And I don't really know if I'm going to put a, I probably should maybe put a backing on this one. I'm not really sure if it's going to stretch. I don't really know about that. And then if we go up here, here's the tapestry on my wall. I mean, it's so big. It's it is ginormous. You can also see my little like fiber stash up there, but yeah, it is massive. Originally I did have like strings that I could hang it by, but I just decided it was safer and sturdier just like being hung by the dowel. And you can see I just like crocheted around the dowel up top. I think there's like multiple ways that you can do this. This is just the way that like I did it. And then here is the felt backing. It's blue. Oh my gosh. And of course I lint rolled the front, but I did not lint roll the back. There is a little bit of bobo hair. That's a little embarrassing. I was a little bit nervous about getting the wrong type of fabric glue for, or like adhesive in general, for the backing with this. Slash, I was also afraid that like with the wrong glue that I wouldn't be able to adjust it if it got like a little wrinkle in it or something like that. So I did get this Scott, and this is like, I don't know. I spent money on this. This isn't sponsored. I got this like Scotch spray adhesive, and it's still like pretty adjustable, yet it's also very sticky. I don't know how they do it, but I did really like using this. I was able to like do it sort of like section by section, rectangle by rectangle, and then roll it out on my patio, on my balcony. I did it outside because breathing this stuff in is definitely not good for you. And a lot of fabric adhesives or like felt glues and things like that do let off, like, you're supposed to use them in like a well aerated area because they let off like chemicals into the air and stuff like that. Not good chemicals. And so I didn't know if this was like that. It didn't have that same like warning on it, but just to be safe, I did it outside. Because it is in an aerosol can, and like I wouldn't spray paint in my own home or my apartment. Yeah, and that's how I did that. And I do like the way it looks a lot more now. I just think it looks like it, A, it's not going to stretch over time. B, it's just like stiffer in general and it lies flat a lot better. Yeah, it was kind of scary before I did it, but once I had done it, I was like, oh, this is not that bad. Next up, in terms of finished objects that are finished hand spun yarns, I have these two bad boys. These are both gradients. This one you can tell a little bit more obviously. This one, because it's like skeined up, I don't know, I feel like you can see the difference from one side to the other. It's like one is more of like a gray black and the other is more of like a blue black. And I think it'll look more obvious once it is in a piece. But I think I'm going to end up using this yarn with this yarn This was spun from a bat that I made. And you can go see the episode where I like make that bat if you want. I'll link it down below. But this bad boy is from a hand dyed braid from Fossil Fibers, who is one of my favorite hand dyers. I just think they do a spectacular job. Like, you can't look at these colors and tell me they aren't amazing. And if you can't tell already, the gradient is from blue to black to like this pink, purple, fuchsia color. I think the original colorway was called Hex versus Shimmer. I think it's an Arcane reference. I haven't seen Arcane, so I don't really know. But I do think it's beautiful, and it is I think it's a Rambouillet silk blend. I might be wrong about the wool type, and if I am, I'll put it on the screen what it actually is. But whatever it is, it was really fun to spin. It was really soft. It was just a pleasure, like all fossil fiber spins are. And these are both chain plied, so they're both 3-ply yarns. They're roughly the same weight. I mean, close enough. And if I had to like eyeball it and guess, I would probably say DK weight for these guys. They might block out a little bit fluffier, but only time will tell. I don't know exactly what piece I'm going to make with these yet. I don't have it exactly like settled out yet. But once I decide, I think it'll get done fairly quickly because these are really easy yarns to work with. I've been working with a lot of like bouclés and textured yarns recently, which is super fun. I love the finished result, but it does like frogging back. If you think frogging mohair is hard, frog a bouclé. It's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. It's terrible. God forbid it's like mohair bouclé. Ugh, terrible. But then on top of that, it's also just like hard to see the stitches sometimes. Like, the stitch definition is a little wonky. And so I think it'll be really refreshing and fun to use these yarns that are just a little bit more like standard classic 3-ply yarns. Now, both of these yarns were spun on my Shack matchless, which you can see in the background. And obviously, if you have eyes, it doesn't have anything on it right now. I don't really know what I'm gonna put on it next. I've been a little like wishy-washy, which is why I have a bunch of singles that have just been like sitting around. I'm going to show you guys those in a minute, and that is what I've put on my Lendrum, and I'm actually like spinning and working on right now in terms of handspun. And then before I show you guys that, also, does anybody have any advice? Like, I didn't need to cut these dowels for this tapestry because it's just like so freaking massive. It essentially took up the entire dowel. How do people cut these? Do they use like, people aren't buying power tools. Can you use an X-Acto knife for like something like this? I feel like these two are pretty thin. I could probably use, I don't know what I'm going to use this thicker one for now to think about it. I was just worried that the thinner one wasn't going to hold up on this one. And, you know, like, there is a little bit of like bending. So if it really starts to bother me, or I really think it's starting to like bend as the weather changes and the like wood like warps and fluctuates, maybe I'll switch it out with this thick dowel, and that's what I'll do with this. I don't really know. Or maybe I'll be absolutely insane and cast on another ginormous tapestry, because I do think that is in my near future. I want to do another Tom of Finland. In fact, I'll be honest with you guys. I wasn't even gonna like tell you in this podcast, but I already charted out the next one that I'm going to do. Image chosen, chart done. I actually finished it right before I started this podcast because I just really, 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 really just wanted to do this image specifically. It's the one that, frankly, like, I wanted to do this image from the start, but I was worried that people were going to be weird about it. And some people have had, like, I don't know, funky reactions to Tom of Finland, or being introduced to the art. Like, a lot of people are like, "Oh, I love him. I already know about Tom of Finland art. Like, that's really awesome." Um, but you know, some people are squares. But I don't really care. I don't care anymore. I don't care. I'm going to do the scenes that I want to do. And I'm really excited to show you guys once I get that cast on as well. I just need to like settle on exactly which yarn I'm using. I do have leftovers of this color, and I might have enough to do that scene. I think I'd really need to take stock though. I feel like realistically, I should probably go with, I do have different yarns and different colorways that I can pull from. I don't know. We're gonna see. We're gonna see. That's a problem for another day. Okay, so these are some of the singles that I'm working with on my Lendrum right now. So obviously they're already spun up. I am plying them up. This is singles that I spun from the frog hunting bat that I made. It was out of some of the last of the Rommeldale wool that I was working with from the CVM fleet. I should say really the CVM wool, because it was gray, it wasn't white. And I bought that a few years ago. Now, maybe few is an exaggeration. Two max at this point. I feel like, right? I don't know. Time is an illusion. It was a beautiful beautiful fleece, absolutely fantastic. I would absolutely buy from that shepherdess again. I was really sad. I think I have like one more bat left over, and then all that fiber is gone, and it makes me really sad. But yeah, I spun up this green bat and I just thought it was funky and I didn't really know what I was gonna do with the singles when I was spinning it. I just kind of wanted to like spin something fun. And I haven't been in the mood to do that lately, so I was like, you know what? Just pick a bat, pick something fun, just spin it. And then this was also another bat that I made in that episode that I posted not too long ago about making bats and drum carding a bunch of bats. This one was, I think it's Coffee with a Witch. I think that's the one, or maybe it's Coffee with Your Lover. I don't really remember. Um, I I don't really know exactly what I'm gonna do with these singles, but I do know I'm gonna turn them into an art yarn. So what exactly am I doing with this bad boy? I'm turning it into a boucle yarn. I just feel like I don't know, the green, the plushness of the CVM. Also, I just know from spinning it in the past, like I just think it'll be so yummy as a boucle. And I love seeing the way different fibers boucle because boucle yarn as a just category of yarn, like loopy yarn, you can have one that has like is heavier on the loops, is lighter on the loops. It can be made with cotton or mohair or wool, fine wool versus long wool, and the way that all of these things look once they're plied and the type of loops that they make, they're all so different. And I just think that's really cool. But I love the cushy, plushy ones, and I think that's really fun. And once again, I am using this thrifted cotton thread that I got at a craft thrift store in Philly. I think it was Philly, the one in Philly. And I try to stop by whenever I drive by it. This thread I just love because it's pigeon colored. I just love, you guys know I love pigeons. And I just think this thread's a beautiful color. I think it'll kind of like disappear on this. It'll keep this being the star of the show, if that makes any sense. All right, and I'm gonna try to like elegantly, gracefully flash you guys this bobbin. Even though I kind of have to lift the wheel up. You can't really tell, but it's gonna be because it's only like the first half of the boucle. If you've never made a boucle yarn before, it's like 3 plies total. So first you make like what's essentially like a spiral ply yarn, but you want to make sure that you have like some loops in it slash like some coils, if that makes any sense. And then when you ply it back on the thread again in the opposite direction, it like opens up those loops and you can kind of like adjust them as you spin. Yeah, Bouclé is kind of a pain in the butt. It takes extra time, and also the yardage is just like never exactly what you want it to be because it's just like when you spin a super coil yarn, right? Like you are wrapping something around a core, and so you're kind of like you're losing yardage in those wraps. So the singles are like this is a dramatic example, but like 100 yards of singles might only get you like 50 yards of yarn, if that makes any sense. Just because of the way the yarn is plied and like how you build it. But there's just something about like the Halloween season, the spooky season, that makes me want to spin art yarns. And that spirit has definitely been renewed now that it's cooling down here. As you guys have probably noticed too, I have been using more of my art yarns, especially ones that I've like been holding on to for a while, and just kind of like hoarding away in my stash. And I've had a lot of success with it. I've been really happy with the results and the pieces that I've been making. So I kind of need to like make more yarn so I can keep making more pieces like that. I just love using art yarn and textured yarn in tapestry pieces, especially in a way that like highlights the texture of the yarn. I just think it's cool. I think it's funky. And I've been having a lot of fun doing it lately. So I am going to make more yarn for it. All right, time jump because unfortunately I recorded like a whole portion about my crochet whips and also an outro. And it turns out that my little Bluetooth microphone was not charged. It had died. And so all of the audio, it was just silent, just a silent clip of me like clearly yapping and holding things up, but not much else. So now I'm going to show you guys my crochet whips, but they're a lot more developed than they were. Some of them are essentially completely done, like blocked out and all that stuff. I'm going to start with the one that you guys have, I think, seen before, but now it's been washed, blocked, and mounted on a piece of felt, and now it's like hung up on one of those wooden dowels, and so I can hang it somewhere in my studio. Okay, so here is this tapestry in all of its glory. I think it turned out really nice. This is a piece of thrifted felt on the back. I just use thrifted felt blankets, or that's what I have been using as a backing for a lot of these tapestries, because frankly, it's cheap. Like, it's inexpensive to do. Especially because, like, I don't know, the price of everything is getting astronomical, especially like fresh out of the package craft supplies. I feel like craft supplies has always been one of those things that like can get really expensive, and I think now more than ever that is definitely the case. So when I can thrift materials that I know I'm going to use, like these felt blankets are always like $2, $3 at the thrift store, and there's always a bajillion of them in a bunch of different colors. I got them originally to make puppets, and I actually have made puppets out of some of them. This color specifically ended up being a puppet. If you've seen my puppet Daria on other like clips or on other episodes of the show, but yeah, I think this one turned out pretty good. Also, please forgive my outfit right now. This is like a gym outfit, or like not a gym outfit. I'm gonna go on a run or whatever. But I'm not showered, I'm not put together. So forgive this right now. Now, this crochet piece, when I had filmed the clip, I had not even started it yet. But it's already done, or not done, but it's kind of finished. So it's, yeah, another tapestry. It needs to be washed, it needs to be blocked. I might end up like attaching other things to it and turning it into a larger piece, because I have a lot of this cotton yarn. Originally, I was going to use it for a pigeon tapestry, but then I realized that like I didn't really get enough of any of the colors, and I couldn't find an image that I wanted to use. And I don't know, I've just been wanting to use up my yarn stash recently. I don't know. Do I really need an excuse to crochet dirty words? Like, not really. And so yeah, I've been using some of this yarn. This is I think it's like the Friends cotton. Yeah, it's the Friends cotton 88. I'm a big fan of this like cornflower blue color. And yeah, I think there's going to be a few more of these, but I don't really know exactly where this piece is going yet. And then these two are fresh off of the blocking mat, so they're looking very crisp today. When I had originally filmed the clip, I was working on these, so I was kind of like, I was talking about how I like to use my art yarns in a way that really like, I don't know, makes them kind of stand out and jump out. And I think that I like the way that this art yarn ends up looking in this piece a lot. And I think this is a pretty good example of what I mean, or like a good example of how I like to use art yarns. I just think this really helps like accent to the art yarn, right? You can see the beads and the texture and the mohair and the different colors. I just think it's super fun. On this one, I actually held this back color like double so that it was a little bit thicker, but I actually really prefer the way that it looks on like where it is kind of like gappy and it kind of emphasizes the text. I don't know. I think this one's kind of my favorite of the two. Not that I don't think this one looks cool. I do think it looks cool. I don't know. You can still see there's a lot of pearls in this one as opposed to like the star wooden beads. And like the different colors, I don't know, are kind of fun. Yeah, I had a lot of fun doing this. The background is leftover yarn from my rainbow cardigan project. If you've been a long time subscriber, you've probably like watched that video before. But yeah, I really like this is good yarn. It's Kelborn Woolens. I don't remember the exact name of the base, but it's a DK weight slash, yeah, it's a DK weight. I'd call it a DK weight. And I got it in like a rainbow assortment of colors, and then this like really nice kind of like oatmeal gray neutral. And I made a really cool cardigan out of it. But I have a lot of leftover yarn, and I really want to use it. A lot of the colors are beautiful by themselves, so I kind of wanted to make some pieces that would like accent that. And you know what? These are very like fall coated. I wasn't really thinking about it, but I just realized that like I don't know, fall is upon us. It's so dreary today. It was very chilly this morning. I'm very excited for fall this year. And I've really enjoyed making my own decor for my apartment. Even if I don't end up keeping all of these tapestries, I might end up selling some of them. I don't really know. I don't know if anyone would be even interested in buying something like this either. I feel like it's very niche. But regardless, I've had a lot of fun doing it. It's been a good time actually using some of these art yarns that I've really cherished for a long time. And I think they were so beautiful in the skein, and I think I just wanted a longer amount of time. Sorry, I have a neighbor who's like driving by and was just like pointing, probably not at me, probably at the building, but still. And I have really cherished them and kind of just like enjoyed looking at them in the skein form. And I think that they were art already in the skein form, but I'm really glad I've gotten to put them into like an art piece. And I've just tapestries clearly have like caught my attention. I've always really liked tapestries. It's just that I think a lot of tapestry designs didn't necessarily like call to me for whatever reason. And I've started finding more designs that do, and I've also started doing more like of my own independent tapestry design. So yeah, I think that's all I have to catch you guys up on. I hope I'm not forgetting anything that I had put in the original clip, but if I did, I'm never gonna know because the audio is gone and I already deleted the clip. So as always, fiber friends, thank you for watching. Thanks for checking in on what I'm working on right now. Tell me if you've cast on something new, something cool for fall. If you have any tapestry designer suggestions, please put them in the comments. And I'll see you guys on the next episode of the Wool to Gold podcast.